History is often written by those in power, and in that version of history, countless voices have been silenced. One such silence lies in the Americas, where over 12 million Africans were transported during the transatlantic slave trade, ripped from their homelands, languages, and identities. The idea of hidden African kingdoms may sound mythical, but the evidence, oral traditions, colonial records, archaeological ruins, and cultural customs tells a very different story. These communities not only survived, they thrived, and their legacy endures in the music, language, religion, and resistance movements of Latin America today. Latin America is a mosaic of cultures, languages, and histories, but beneath its vibrant tapestry lies a story often overlooked, a tale of hidden African kingdoms that once thrived on these lands. For centuries, whispers and legends have circulated about African communities who escaped the brutal realities of slavery and went on to create thriving societies far from colonial control. These weren't mere refuges or survival camps. They were organized settlements with their own systems of governance, cultural practices, and deep resilience rooted in African traditions. For a long time, these stories were dismissed as myths, too incredible to be true. After all, how could enslaved Africans, uprooted and scattered across a foreign continent, manage to rebuild kingdoms from the ground up? Yet, when we dig deeper into historical records, oral traditions, and archaeological discoveries, a richer, more complex history begins to emerge. These hidden African kingdoms challenge the conventional narratives about the Americas and the African diaspora. They reveal a powerful truth, that African peoples were not merely passive victims of history, but active architects of their own destinies. In the chapters ahead, we will uncover the seeds of resistance that gave rise to these communities, explore their legacies, and witness how their spirit still echoes across Latin America today. The transatlantic slave trade forcibly uprooted over 12 million Africans from their homelands, sending them across the ocean to toil under brutal conditions in the Americas. This vast human displacement created unimaginable suffering and loss. Yet, amid this oppression, a remarkable story of resistance emerged. Not all enslaved Africans accepted their fate. Many risked everything to escape, fleeing into the dense forests, rugged mountains, and inaccessible swamps of the New World. These escaped individuals formed what historians call Maroon communities, self-sufficient settlements built by runaway slaves who refused to be broken. The word Maroon comes from the Spanish cimarron, meaning wild or untamed. Far from being isolated groups, these communities were often large and well-organized. They developed political structures, cultivated land, and defended themselves against colonial forces seeking to recapture them. Their resistance was multifaceted. Maroons waged guerrilla warfare, sabotaged plantations, and forged alliances with indigenous peoples. In some cases, colonial governments were forced to negotiate treaties granting them autonomy and land. From Jamaica's Copic country to Suriname's rainforests, from Colombia's Palenques to Brazil's Quilombos, these Maroon communities represented a formidable challenge to slavery and colonial domination. Each Maroon society carried distinct traditions but shared a common legacy, the unbreakable will to reclaim freedom and preserve African cultural identity far from their stolen homelands. Across Latin America, several remarkable African-led communities rose from the seeds of resistance, evolving into thriving kingdoms and cultural hubs, each leaving an indelible mark on history. In the heart of Brazil's rugged northeast, the Quilombo dos Palmares became the largest and most enduring Maroon kingdom of the 17th century. Founded by escaped Africans, Palmares grew into a formidable settlement of up to 20,000 inhabitants. Palmares was more than a refuge. It was a self-sustaining republic with agriculture, skilled crafts, and a structured military defense. Its leaders, including the legendary warrior Zumbi dos Palmares, coordinated resistance against repeated Portuguese attacks. For nearly a century, Palmares stood as a symbol of unyielding freedom and African resilience. Zumbi, who died in 1695, remains a national hero in Brazil, representing the struggle for liberty and justice. Northwest in Colombia, San Basilio de Palenque stands as the first free African town in the Americas, founded in the early 1600s by runaway slaves. Remarkably, Palenque preserved African languages, music, religious practices, and social customs, offering a direct living link to ancestral African heritage. This cultural oasis earned recognition from UNESCO as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity, honoring its vital role in preserving African identity. In Mexico, Gaspar Yanga, believed to be an African prince, led one of the earliest successful revolts against Spanish colonial forces in the early 1600s. After years of resistance, Yanga and his followers established the town of San Lorenzo de los Negros, later renamed Yanga in his honor, securing a rare degree of autonomy for escaped Africans. Yanga is celebrated as a symbol of leadership and courage, a testament to the enduring fight for freedom across the Americas. Together, these communities represent a powerful legacy, not just of survival, but of cultural pride, political autonomy, and the creation of new societies rooted in African traditions. The legacies of these hidden African kingdoms are not relics of the past. They live vibrantly in the cultural fabric of Latin America today. In Brazil, the influence of African heritage is unmistakable in the pulsating rhythms of samba and the vibrant celebrations of carnival, both born from centuries-old African traditions. In Colombia, the people of San Basilio de Palenque continue to speak Palenquero, a Creole language blending Spanish and African tongues, a living testament to the community's roots. Music, dance, religious rituals, and even culinary traditions across Latin America bear the unmistakable imprint of African ancestry, shaping regional identities and enriching national cultures. Yet, recognition of this heritage has been a slow journey. Only recently have scholars, activists, and governments begun to fully acknowledge and celebrate the profound impact of African descendants on the Americas. These modern-day echoes underscore a vital truth. African kingdoms in the Americas were not just historical footnotes, but a foundation of vibrant cultures still thriving today. The stories of these hidden African kingdoms are more than chapters in history books. They are narratives of resilience, identity, and pride. By uncovering and sharing these stories, we honor the courage and spirit of those who refuse to be forgotten. We recognize that African heritage is an integral thread woven into the vibrant tapestry of Latin America, and a source of strength for generations past, present, and future. It is our responsibility to keep this legacy alive through education, celebration, and the acknowledgement of a history that enriches us all. Join us in celebrating this vital chapter of history. Share this story, explore more, and let the spirit of these kingdoms continue to inspire and empower.